Is the flat earth theory real? I know that this is about the Easter Bunny, but seriously, is it? Independently, cultures from around the world, before they could have communicated with each other, came up with similar models of the earth. Why? Probably the same reason a magical rabbit hides eggs on a Christian holiday. Symbolism. Symbols come from the meaningful part of our mind, deep in the unconscious, and are used to communicate with the logical part of our brain we are conscious of. Symbols represent what is infinitely complex, the indescribable, irreproducible, or immeasurable, which has to do with potential and love. Science deals with the measurable and reproducible. It defines things by their limits. Though some daunting aspects of life have been quite adequately measured, there will always be a mysterious aspect of life that remains. The mysterious aspect is known as intuition, emotion, love, synchronicity, phenomenology, or metaphysics. A good way to illustrate the difference between the two is the question of whether you would rather have been born in a petri dish in the greatest science lab or in the most loving home. I'm sure engineers and chemists could do wonders, but would all the technology in the world reproduce what you feel when someone who deeply cares about you gives you a hug? A hug isn't always the right answer. If I was in an airplane that was going down, I would rather have someone hand me a parachute than give me a hug. In the aftermath of a tragedy, however, I would prefer a hug to any pill. Good and evil is not the actual dichotomy of life, because what is good is just doing what was meaningful when doing what was logical was more appropriate, or vice versa. Nazi Germany was pretty logical, but not very meaningful. Romeo and Juliet was pretty meaningful, but not very logical. These are extremes, of course, but it is the art of life to measure and control what can and should be measured and controlled, and not attempt to measure or control what can't or shouldn't. Symbolically, our mind uses dream symbolism to help us understand which is which, so we can treat each accordingly. Our dreams don't suggest a specific action, but rather paint the meaningful context of a situation so that we can make an integrated action. What complicates understanding these symbols is that the language it uses can seem so random. Luckily, dreams often reinforce their meaning by doubling up symbols. In dreams, anything that is dark, low, left, round, water, invisible, female, or mammal is meaningful and can't or shouldn't be measured or controlled. The Easter Bunny lives underground, is invisible, is female and mammal. I've not dreamed of the Easter Bunny, but if I did, I imagine it would be dark and round as well. That would make it 6 out of 8 potential indicators, which in that case, you can be pretty sure it signifies the meaningful and immeasurable. Looking at the nature of rabbits, you can pretty safely assume that because of their notable capacity to produce offspring, it means that the Easter Bunny represents new life, new meaningful facets of your heart that are born and should be nurtured. This is why the death and resurrection of Christ symbolically matches up with the Easter Bunny. If what we are looking for in life is what has lasting value, then you have to test things to the breaking point. It is this refiner's fire that reveals truth. This idea is not exclusively Christian. It is the Socratic method, the idea of the yin and the yang, and the suggestion of every dream that has ever been dreamt. Since dreams are suggesting what is meaningful or what is love, they will not suggest controlling another person. This means that every person in your dreams is not the actual person, but a part inside you that they personify. The loyalty of a friendship could be symbolized in a dream as something like a dog, or the support or inspiration from a person symbolized as a horse. But people in dreams do not represent the actual people. Just because love or what is meaningful can't or shouldn't be controlled doesn't mean that boundaries aren't a good thing. Trust can and should be measured. In dreams, trust or logic is symbolized as what is light, high, right, square, rock, male, or reptile. The Easter Bunny leaves eggs with gold coins inside, which represent refined meaning. Silver coins, in contrast, represent refined logic. On Easter, you search for these valuable eggs in the grass, which, similar to hair, represents naiveness, or the unknown, and you collect them in a basket, which represents the heart. Good luck on your journey, looking for eggs and finding gold coins. I hope every day you find more value in life.